Well, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode. It's been a long time since I did a video. It's been like maybe 2 weeks. It's a long time to me. Anyway, it's like 4:26. I didn't go to the gym today. I just left the office, and now I got to go home because my wife is doing some trivia night or something with people from her work. So I got to go home. But it's been a crazy week. A lot of stuff has been happening, both in the political sphere and in the transportation sphere. And I guess I'll talk about both of them. Obviously, politically, kind of like I don't know. I think I'm kind of sitting back being like, you guys wanted this. Like, you know, that's kind of my rationale, or the way I'm viewing everything. Because Donald Trump is fully going scorched earth. I don't think there's anybody that could say he's not. He's going scorched earth in the right direction, though. He's not going after his political opponents or anything that anyone said, although the Democrats are trying to say that's what he's doing. What he's doing is he's cutting wasteful spending left and right, which to me is just amazing, right? I was telling someone today during a business meeting, we were talking about social media and stuff I used to do, and I was telling him, about like what Donald Trump is doing. As long as he finds some way to lock it all up after, you know what I mean? Like, so he's doing all these executive orders. Doge is in there, cutting all this, stupid funding that we're funding in other countries and just wasting our kids' futures. Hopefully there's a way to like lock it up and put restrictions on the amount of needless spending we do in the future. Because, I mean, let's face it, Donald Trump this is going to be a lame duck presidency. He can't run again. J.D. Vance possibly could if the economy goes up, and things start going a little bit better for Americans as a whole, then possibly J.D. Vance could run. I don't think he'd run unopposed. But I think the days of, like, the rhino conservative are done, which to me is a good thing, because I don't like them. For a long time, I actually stopped saying I was a Republican, and just saying I'm a conservative, because the Republican Party or, the Republican establishment doesn't really fit what I view. And granted, I've realized over time I do have some liberal views, or views that could be considered liberal. I'll never say I'm liberal, and I don't even like saying I have liberal views. I think views that could be considered liberal, but they would only be considered liberal by like hard right conservatives. Do you know what I mean? They would not be considered liberal at all to liberals or people that are left leaning, which is kind of funny. Like my stance on the border and stuff like that. Now, it's not that we need to. Many of you guys that have been watching my shows for a long time, you all know my position on the border, because I don't believe you could fix anything without shutting it down. And it looks like Donald Trump is taking President Trump. Sorry. It looks like he's taking those steps in an effort to actually shut down the border once and for all, and get rid of the people that are here illegally, the criminals that are here illegally, and then hopefully, this is my hope, and maybe other people disagree. I'm sure there are. My hope is that we revisit how hard it is to come to the United States legally, and so we make it so everybody can enjoy the benefits of this country legally and pay taxes and all that stuff. So they're all here and enjoying what America could be, right? What we all see in America, even in her faults. I still think this is the greatest country in the world, and it would be wrong of me not to want other people to enjoy. It would be un-American of me to say, well, we don't want other people immigrating to this country. Immigration is legal if you're immigrating legally, otherwise it's illegal immigration. So he's done a lot of stuff. He's gotten pretty much all of his political appointees through. Pete Hegseth was through. Sean Duffy, who's the new Department of Transportation Secretary. I disagree with him. I don't think he's I mean, the guy passed the MAP 21. He was a yes vote on MAP 21 back in whenever it passed. And so anyone that wants to further restrict transportation, I just disagree with wholeheartedly. And he voted yes on that, mandating ELDs for all truck drivers and all that stuff. And granted, I know that you were supposed to follow the hours of service regulations prior to the mandate, but there were ways around it, you know what I mean? And which is funny, because I wear a safety hat kind of at my company now, but I also drove, and so I see things in a different way, I guess. Some of the spending, though, like the $9 million or whatever it was in USAID grants to, well, there's a little accident up here. All the grants, wow, that car is actually messed up for a little fender bender. The car got demolished. I understand the political thing. I disagree with it, because I don't think the government should be paying any subscription services for news, but it's not the same left. Well, maybe it is. I don't know, because to be honest, I didn't get that pro subscription or whatever they charge. But $9 million is what the federal government was paying Politico each year to have access to their proprietary data and news stories and all that stuff. And that's what a lot of conservatives are all jumping at and be like, oh my God, this is proof that they were colluding with left-leaning media. But whatever, doesn't matter. Because in all reality, to me, it truly doesn't matter, because it's time for us all to move on and create the country that will last after we're gone, and for our kids and their kids and their kids. For a long time, for 4 years, I didn't think that was going to be possible. I'll be honest with you. I really thought we were in a very dire position, and I'm hoping that it all bounces back. I don't know. Frankly, I don't pay much attention to it anymore to see whether everything is going to bounce back the way I think it should. Because in all reality, I've learned you got to just kind of roll with the punches, as they say. In terms of, how much, like we're now spending, no joke, there's a family of 4. Granted, I'm big, I eat a lot. I've got a teenager that just never stops eating. We're spending over $300 a week on food, not including Thursday, Friday, when we got to go back and buy more food because we don't have enough for the week. We're spending over $300 a week, maybe probably closer to $400 or $500 a week on food for our families, for our family. I remember when I was a kid, as like a punishment, my father would give us $25 and say, that's what you got to eat for the week. And then when we all realized that we could do it and we could eat real good, he stopped doing that for us, because we were all buying these. Remember Texas donuts back in the day? Man, they were good. But anyway, so I guess I have a positive outlook on everything, and I have a positive outlook just because of my family, I'll be honest with you, and just seeing how great they are, and seeing, my kids continue to grow and know that that generation is gonna be the leaders of my future, and the leaders of our country. Even though, yeah, they spend entirely too much on their phone, or they get mad because I tell them to turn off their computer games at 9 o'clock at night so they can go to bed. They're good kids. The kids on my son's football team, they're good kids. The kids that we met up and that my son knew up in Virginia, they're good kids. And they have a good head on the shoulders. I'm sure there are bad kids, but they're not going to be the leaders. They're going to be the followers. We have some good leaders out there, which is, I guess, as long as we provide and we continue to provide and do right by that generation of kids, if we make it so, the tax burden is going to be less on them, and it's easier to buy a house and afford cars and do all the things that they need to be able to do in order to grow into budding human beings, they'll remember us when they're in control. I think that's what ended up happening and where everything got screwy, because if you think about it, most of my adult life has been run by idiots. It doesn't matter whether Republican or Democrat. They don't have any remember when I used to do interviews with politicians and I would ask them specifically when the last time they changed a tire was? When's the last time you changed a tire on your vehicle? I don't know if any of them ever were able to be like, oh, you know what, I did that back 40 years ago. No, I don't think anyone that I ever interviewed that was running for office was ever able to actually answer that question. So it's interesting. In transportation news, because I know that's what all of you guys are waiting for, well, freight rates are, drive-in rates are kind of low. Flatbed rates are lower as well. Reefer rates are through the roof, depending on where you are. Don't ever haul live chicken. It's not live anymore, but fresh chicken. That's a code word for you're not getting paid for detention when they write fresh chicken. And I fell into that fresh chicken thing like several times this week, and I had to go to one broker on a load, and they were actually picking up milk yesterday, but they waited. They got there at 10:30 for a 3 o'clock appointment. They were early, whatever, and they didn't get loaded until 10:15, which made them almost missed their delivery day. I thought they had an appointment this morning, but they didn't. And so he was able to squeeze in by 2 o'clock. But the broker was trying to like argue with me over detention, over paying the detention rate. And I was like, listen, this shit ain't happening, bro. This isn't happening. I'm getting the detention. Otherwise, I will block you and I'll never work with you again. Now, a lot of people don't realize these carrier reps, they make a profit. They make either a bonus or a commission off of their book. Their book, in this case, is carriers. So if they lose a carrier, especially a big volume carrier like I am, then it affects them and they ultimately lose their job. And I basically told this guy, like, listen, if you stiff me on detention, and here's what happened. Last week or the week before, we delivered a load for these guys. They took like 8 hours to offload him. And move over. They took like 8 hours to offload the driver, and because it was a first come first serve appointment, this broker said, oh, we have a company policy, we don't pay detention for first come first serve. And I said, where was that? Because I missed that one. They're like, it's in our contract. And I was like, I got you, bro. Got you. And so I didn't book with them for a week, and their rep kept bugging me. Finally, I book a load with them, and then the same thing happens, and I'm like, listen, you're not getting over on me again. This one's got an appointment, and you're paying detention. And then it ended up paying me a layover, not detention, but the layover rate was higher than the detention I was asking for, so by like $50. And then he messaged me after. He's like, we good, bro? I'm like, yeah, we're good for now. But in all reality, we're still hiring refrigerated drivers. So if you have 2 years reefer experience and you know what you're doing behind the wheel and you don't mind being run pretty hard by an incredibly awesome dispatch guy named Steve, please go to shipwithreed.com, fill out an application up at the top of the website, which I built, which is pretty amazing. Click on the top and do apply now, fill out the application, and one of our recruiters will call you right away. They'll call you Monday through Friday, and we could schedule. Every week I go out and actually do the orientation in person. Like, I'm leaving on Sunday to go do the orientation on Monday for one driver and then driving all the way back. Why do I do that, you may ask? Well, because to me it's important. Because then I'm the one that runs the company. I'm the one that's completely in charge of the company. I want to make sure that these drivers know that I got their back, you know? And I'm fairly certain the majority of the drivers that have started recently, they know, hey, this guy's got my back. He's a good dude. He's out there. And the difference, too, between us and a lot of other trucking companies, I got a CDL. Our CEO has a CDL. Our maintenance guy has been working in trucking for 25 freaking years. The guy can diagnose a computer or diagnose a truck issue by listening to the sound over the phone, and I am not even embellishing, maybe a little bit, but whatever. But they're all very good. Like, all of our people that have been there for a long time, they just know what they're doing. And we kind of treat everybody, even on the owner-op side, it's different and it's harder because a lot of the owner-ops don't, and I don't want to say it, but a lot of them don't understand the cost to operate their truck. And that's one of the things when I used to run the orientations with the TRC side, I would ask them, like, how much does it cost you every time you turn your truck on and start driving? How much does it cost you? And they're like, I don't know. And I've heard ballparks of like $4 a mile is what it costs. No, it doesn't. Or I've heard, really low. When someone says like $1.70, $1.80, $1.90, then I know they actually know their cost to operate. Most drivers, I would say 90% of the drivers that come into orientation, these are guys that own their own trucks, $150,000 trucks. They own their own business, their livelihood. They don't even know what it costs to operate that truck. And it's not because they don't want to. It's because no carriers, no people that they've worked for before actually give a shit and want to try to teach them and explain it. And that's one of the reasons why we're a little bit different, because we want you to be able to be successful. The problem, I've found is that some people just don't want it. They don't want the help. They're like, oh, I can do everything. I know everything. And then they're pulling $2.20 into Florida and $1 a mile out. And they're like, oh yeah, I know everything. This is great. Look, you see the glucose meter. Diabetes update. I'm doing pretty good. I've cheated quite a few times this week and it's caused my sugar to go up a little bit. But you know what? It's worth it for my happiness. Actually, I've been doing the carnivore diet for a while. It kept my sugar real low. Like, my average was like 100. But kind of cheated and had Philly cheesesteaks for 2 days in a row, and it demolished me. Like, my immune system is all messed up. I'm kind of dealing with a head cold and all that stuff now. But yeah, other than that, I feel great. I'm light now. I'm like 278, which is the lightest I've been in a long time. Still strong as an ox. Actually, I'm way stronger than an ox now. I'm stronger than I've ever been. And that's likely because of the testosterone and all that stuff. Because because I had really low levels. They said it was because of diabetes, but I had really low levels, and now I don't because I'm supplementing with TRT. And I'll tell you, that stuff's pretty crazy. Obviously, you guys could probably tell by the energy I have. I got up at 5 o'clock this morning, and it's now 4:41, and I am wound for sound, even though I'm sick. And I'll probably fall asleep the second I go home. But it's fun. I mean, I don't get to do the videos much because I work my ass off all the time, but I hope to. Last week, I didn't drive out to Oklahoma, so I couldn't make any videos. Like, I'm driving out this week, so I'll probably make videos while I'm driving. Can't live, maybe I can live stream if I have it vertical. I may try that and just see what that does. So make sure you follow me on YouTube if you don't already, because maybe you'll see a live stream when I'm driving down the roadway. But yeah, it's things are going pretty well. I'm just working. Pure Truth Coffee is 100% going to be coming back probably by March 1st, maybe March 15th. Found a new coffee supplier, found a new coffee packager. I found everything, so it'll be a fully automated system for me, so I'm able to keep doing what I'm doing, provide you guys great coffee. People don't have to wait forever for the orders and all that stuff, so I'm actually quite excited about it. But I just got home, so I'm gonna say goodnight to all of you guys, and maybe I'll see you on Sunday as I drive to Oklahoma. All right, we'll see you. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, follow, do all the stuff that you do on social media, and till next time.